Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Soundbites for Immigration Success. My name is Monica O'Brien, and I'm the Education Manager at CAPIC. We're doing this series so that you can get to know your fellow consultants, hear their challenges and some successes, and to gain some final takeaways. And I have with us today Justin Foot. Hi, Justin.
Hello, Monica.
It's a pleasure to see you. Justin is from Just Right Immigration. Justin is going to introduce himself. And Justin, could you also tell us why you entered this profession?
Okay, so I didn't really choose the profession. It was odd. I started as a typewriter, basically, or a copywriter, and it kind of just chose me. Long story short, I was a copywriter for an immigration consultant, and he saw that I had some potential to be able to do immigration applications, and so he said, "Hey, you want to become a partner in a business and learn how to do immigration applications?" I said, you know what? I'm just out of college. Sure, why not? And that was the beginning of everything. I ended up doing them, got a few approvals on my first applications, got some confidence, and the rest is history. I bought into a business, I parted ways with that business, and now I'm running my own firm. So totally happenstance, but I love it all the same.
Wow. So thank you for that. So in your case, it was just you were working and an opportunity uh, sort of crossed your desk and you took advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always wanted to own my own business, and I had an opportunity to buy in, and I said, "Hey, I could do this. Sounds good." And as I started doing it, I just kind of fell in love with it because of the impact that you're making on people's lives. That's the most rewarding thing.
So you gained a lot of your experience kind of just working on the job, sort of reviewing files, helping with putting them together, doing draft submissions. So what finally made you decide to take the immigration course yourself and choose licensing?
Well, the situation that I was in, I was in a partnership with a very, very senior partner. At the time, he was 73 years old, so I was looking to take over the business. And part of that was getting my own license so that I could provide immigration advice without needing his license. He was an RCIC at the time. So that was the first thing, just so I could take over the business. And second off, I wanted a deeper knowledge into the immigration system and how it works so I can provide better advice to people when I do get my license. There was a lot of intricacies. I know I used to, well, I still know a lot of RCICs. And I remember before I got my license, they would show me how they would look up data, and they go to the IRPA and IRPR. And I had no idea what these were at that time, right? I was just a lowly assistant. And they would go, "Okay, yeah, I've got to look through all these laws." And they go through all these numbers. And it just fascinate me that they could go through like 200 different regulations. And they're like, "Yeah, this is what we need. This is how it works. And that's how we're going to apply it to this application." I was like, "Okay, I need to know how to do that." And that's what kind of spurred it.
Oh, I love it. So was you fell in love with learning about it and you wanted to go to that next step so you could actually counsel and advise clients.
Absolutely.
So, Justin, how long have you had your license then?
So I've had my license for about 2 years now. Previously, I was working under my ex-senior partner's license, and I was literally responsible for all the production. I did applications all the way from LMIAs to visitor visas to study permits, but mostly focusing on sponsorship and, of course, LMIAs.
Okay,
Did a lot
so
of those.
so they say a lot of gaining a lot of that experience is done best by just sort of working on files. So I commend you for taking it to the next step. So that brings me to my next question, and you're the first of the number of consultants that I've interviewed that I'm going to pose a follow-up question in a different way. So I'll start with what people will expect. So now that you've been a consultant for 2 years, and I know you're just getting your business up and running, what to you have been the biggest challenges about that piece for you?
Yeah. Okay. So the biggest, absolute number one biggest challenge is marketing. That is huge. If you can up your skills in social media, in marketing, in sales, how you talk to people, how you put yourself out there online, the right channels, connections with other people. Those are absolutely huge. And when you get out of college and you got your license, you passed the test, it's almost like the world is kind of like, you feel like the world is your oyster, right? You're like, you're ready. Okay, I got the knowledge. I'm ready to go, right? And then you're like, well, where is all the customers? And you realize you have to figure that out. And it's not like, oh, hey, I did a social media strategy, bam, I got customers lined up out the door. No, no, no. You learn very quickly that it is a race won by inches, right? You're just inching your way ever so slightly. So it's a long-term process. So what I would recommend, one thing when you start up on your own, especially for newer RCICs, is get a mentor or get a coach that can help you in sales or marketing, or have someone that you can contract to do that for you, because it's so darn important. Because you have no customers, you don't have a business, right? And word of mouth is good, but you really need to devise a strategy. And I found that having a mentor or talking to other business owners about it and how they went about it, that was key. And that's something you should look out for.
So is that how you're tackling your issue in terms of trying to find clients, is by devising a marketing plan and building skills in that regard?
Yes. So I do a lot of networking. So to all the new RCICs, I want you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in social spaces, because you got to go to all the networking events, shake hands, talk to people. Some of the best business that I've gotten was from people I least expected to need my services.
And
It's
and
insane.
by these events, they could be anything from an immigration conference, uh, a business entrepreneurial session, a conference board, whatever it might be. What other kinds of sessions would you recommend?
So I'm here in Manitoba, in Winnipeg. So I participate in several different networking events. Some of them are local, but there's one that I would recommend for every RCIC because it's underutilized, I found. It's BNI, so Business Networking International. For people who don't know what it is, it's basically a global networking organization. There's different chapters all across the globe, and it's basically just a referral network. You refer to each other within your chapters. There's only one seat available for each profession. So you have one lawyer, one immigration consultant, et cetera, and they're all across the globe. So it's a great way to start building your connections with other professionals, because you'll find that you're going to have a lot of synergy, especially depending on what applications that you're planning on doing. By the way, very important, pick some sort of specialty. Please do not do everything under the sun in immigration. It's a huge mistake. Pick one, two, or three at the most. Go with it. But I digress. Yeah, essentially, you want to be networking with as many people as possible. So get out there, shake hands. You never know when that is going to lead to business. And that could be your first client, and that could be the only client you ever need if it's a big employer, if you're doing LMIAs. So it's super important. Another one that I would recommend, other than BNI, is Chamber of Commerce. Lots of Chamber of Commerces all over the place. You can join a chapter there. Great networking with business people. You want to also tend to hang around, especially if you're doing LMIAs, because that's what I specialize in. The more you can connect with accountants, lawyers, payment processing individuals that run businesses like that, those are great connections to have. So you're going to find out, depending on what you're doing, who your natural referral partners are, and you're going to want to connect with those. So you're going to get hyper focused in your networking as you go along. But when you first start, just attend every event, show up to every party with a smile on your face. You'll do just fine.
So that's well, great advice. It's great advice. And I think as practitioners, sometimes we stay so focused in our field, but we have to go outside it. Because we were talking off air, you said, for example, that you're a big believer in meeting with other like-minded entrepreneurs. It doesn't even have to be immigration entrepreneurs. It could be other people who are starting businesses, and they have the same challenges that you might have, from processes and systems, and and they may need foreign workers, and so it's a cross referral system. But
Yep.
this is just a really simple question. So you talk about shaking hands and maybe bumping elbows because we're post-COVID, but is it good advice still to have paper business cards? Do people still do that?
So that is an interesting question. So I've heard answers on both sides of the argument. I err on the side of caution and I have paper business cards because the older generation, I'll say, still accepts business cards. And it's always nice to just have something that has your contact information on it and you can just hand it out really quickly. My business cards have a QR code on the back. So it kind of doubles up as a digital alternative as well. I just flip my card around, and if they want to do that way, they just scan the QR code on the back of my card and it goes into their phone automatically. So
Yeah, and you know what's nice about that too is with the paper business cards, you could be like I've been at the line up at the grocery store and I get chatting with somebody and she discovers that I'm in an immigration and it's not always the right session to be able to put your phones together to exchange it. So I could just leave a business card. It's a takeaway, right? So Justin, I've asked you a little bit about one of the challenges that you've had, and you've talked about, so where are the clients and how do you do that? And you talked about all these marketing aspects. But I also want to come back to you and say, I want you to tell me something that you've been really proud of, something that you've accomplished, and I want you to share it with our audience, please.
absolutely. So I the thing that I'm really proud of with Just Right Immigration is I successfully got PR for a family of 5. Really, really nice family. Long story, I ended up doing work for them at my prior firm to get them their work permit. It was LMIA based for a little operation out of Brampton, Ontario. Family was from Indonesia. I got them the LMIA, I got the work permit for them. And then I parted ways with my senior partner. I thought I'd never hear from him again. Well, sure enough, he found me on LinkedIn unsolicited. Said, Justin, I want to get my PR. Can you help me and my family? And I said, well, absolutely. I didn't expect to find me on LinkedIn, but okay, sounds good. So I ended up doing their PR. I got them NIP, and the 5 of them got PR just last month. And they're going to be great Canadians one day because, yeah, it was just a great story. Great guy, great family, great kids, like great company. It's just like one of those stories. All you need to do is put the bow on top of it, and it's perfect.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear this story, and to hear that your hard work and becoming established and putting yourself out there, and somebody who was pleased with what you had done before in another life came back to you, and you're able to make their journey a success, and that's really what it's all about. Of course, we want to be able to pay ourselves, but it's really being part of that process and wrapping it up for that person with a bow on top. So I guess, Justin, that leads me to my final question, and you've kind of alluded to it, but maybe you have other takeaways. What would you advise to somebody starting today who's just maybe about to write their licensing exam or just has passed the licensing exam? What would you tell them?
Okay, so people who are just about to write the licensing exam, it's going to sound really silly, okay? But if they still have the little bubble sheets that you got to fill out with a pencil, make sure when you erase the bubbles, you erase them completely. Because seriously, if they run it through the machine and you didn't erase it properly, you're going to get a wrong answer.
Oh no, it's all online. No,
okay, well that's easy now.
Yeah,
Okay,
not
so
so
don't
much.
worry about that.
Yeah, not advice so much about the exam, but just about they're just about to become licensed or they've just become licensed. What would you advise to somebody starting out?
Sure. So in that case, what I would do is before you even write that test and pass, you should start making connections now. So what I tell new RCICs, I say to them, okay, what other RCICs do you know? Who do you know that's also an RCIC? And if they say no one, I said, okay, you gotta get to know some people. You want to build a little group of RCICs that you trust, right? That you can bounce ideas off of, because you're out of college, you graduated, you are very smart, you are very educated, but we all know that we don't have the answers to everything, okay? And we can be we're more powerful together than we are apart. So you want to get your group of like 4 or 5 RCICs together. So like if you have a question about a study permit you don't know, you can ask that person. And even even if it comes up where, for instance, you don't do study permits, but your friend does, you can have a referral network there. I have had one of the best things I did was connect with other RCICs and keep them within my network. Yes, we're all competing for the same work, but there's more than enough work to go around. And I found that the benefits far, far outweigh any negatives, if there are any at all. So I would highly recommend make those connections, make them as soon as possible, even before you get your license. And lastly, talk to other business owners. Please do not isolate yourself. It is so easy to sit there and kind of have the blinders on. You're the only person that is experiencing all these problems. I'm telling you right now, guys, it's not true. Someone else has experienced it. Open up, go to those meeting places that I was talking about, BNI, stuff like that, and connect with other people. I felt like it felt so much better when I finally heard other people say, oh yeah, I've dealt with that problem too. No, you're not crazy. That happens. Maybe you should do this. So that's what I would recommend. Network.
Connect. And of course, for you, a lot of your connections have come through being part of CAPIC.
Yes, absolutely. Volunteering. Anytime you guys get the chance to speak on stage, if you can do that, volunteer for CAPIC. It's a great experience. I've done it many times, and it gets your name out there as well. So it's a very positive thing, and you get to give back to the community, which is an added bonus.
Yeah, and I think, Justin, you did a little bit of volunteering a year ago or so, where we were CAPIC had a booth at a conference, Metropolis. Sorry, right.
Yeah.
And we were looking for people to work at a booth, and Justin just put his hand up and he worked at the booth, and you met a ton of people and connected from all parts of the industry. So just even doing that is a great way to get connected. So Justin, any final words that you want to leave to our audience before we wrap this up?
Yep. Last thing I'll say, okay, aside from get networking, guys, and get networking now, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, right? Starting your own business is tough, but it gets easier. And if you stick with it, you have what they call grit. It gets easier. I promise you. And if you surround yourself with like-minded people who are actually out there for you, you can make that through your networking. You'll have a much easier time succeeding. And if you stick to it, good things will happen, guys. So just keep going.
Great advice. Justin, thanks for sharing your story and for sharing some of your challenges and something that you're proud of, and for with your final takeaways. It's been a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you for all your volunteering that you've done. We look forward to working with you again. So thank you to you in our audience. We hope that you've enjoyed learning about Justin and that you've gained something useful for your own practice. So we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Justin.
You're welcome. Take care.